If you're having paranormal issues, contact us at mwghosthunters.com. From the files of the Midwest Ghost Hunters.
All right, Midwest Ghost Hunters site investigation, recorder 1.
Oh, Dustin, right there. Something just moved behind you.
Yes, it did.
What the was that?
What happened?
Something touched my ear, man.
What's that?
This is Dark Matter with Midwest Ghost Hunters.
It's getting close to that time of year where people start spiking interest in what we do, because that's what's starting to happen. We've got so many people that have now emailed trying to reach out wanting investigations. I mean, it's only July, so I mean, you know, summer's just now getting underway.
The veil is thinning.
Yeah, but as we start heading towards, you know, August, September, our interest definitely spikes. I heard that. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Was that laughing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We've been hearing all kinds of things.
So
we're in a different room.
Yeah,
than
I heard it again.
we should probably start out today saying that we've done 160, however many podcasts from Pythian Castle. Probably 70% of those took place in this room. And then recently, you know, the newer 30% we've done down the hallway because there's more room.
And there's also better acoustics
Yeah.
because, as you're probably hearing today, you're hearing a lot more echo behind us.
Yeah, and you're probably going to hear some ventilation here at some point too. But historically, we've always caught a lot more EVP type stuff over here.
Which is, yeah, it's a trade-off for us.
Yeah.
We got to choose whether we record something that, you know, doesn't have echo or something that might have more ghost whispers in the background.
Yeah.
Which is why I always vote to go with the less echo.
Yeah, there is a lot of echo in here. You're going to hear a significant difference simply because of our, you know, room placement today, and we did that because our other room is doing some cleaning or something over there. So we're over here today. But that being said, there is no one else in the castle doing the cleaning today. It's just us. So if we hear anything, it's not like there's a cleaning crew here. It's going to be you know, something popping up that's an anomaly. But yeah, there's a little more echo. You might hear the HVAC kick on at some point, but we are in a different room today. But what we're saying is, as we start heading towards, you know, the fall, which I know we're not anywhere near fall right now, but we start getting more and more people hitting us up to do investigations. I thought this one was interesting. Let me go ahead and just read the message. I'm not going to say any names or anything, but I want to read the message. It says, "Hello, I'm reaching out for help regarding a situation my daughter and I are going through. We went to a therapist who believes our story and gave me your link to reach out." The therapist did? I just now caught that. I didn't even see that till just now. So apparently, did you hear that?
Just heard that.
Yep. I heard that too.
Apparently, it likes the therapist.
So apparently they went to a therapist who believed their story and gave them our link to reach out. We moved out by Bennett Springs, out by Lebanon. Our neighbors next to us are Mormon. Come to find out, they're actually in a cult.
Whoa, hold on.
Whoa.
Let me catch up here
Holy
real quick.
shit.
I'm still stuck on the therapist.
Yeah, I know. I've read this email a couple times. I thought I heard it again.
The neighbors are in a cult?
That's what they says.
Okay.
But I think what he's hung up on is that there's therapists out there handing out our cards.
Okay. A couple pieces of advice for this person.
Yeah.
Get a new therapist. Obviously. I'm just kidding. That's pretty cool. Now, we're talking about cult stuff, which is like my wheelhouse.
I
dude.
know.
I love cult stuff. I want to know more about this. You need to email them back.
Well, I have. Our neighbors next to us are Mormon. Coming to find out they're actually in a cult. I'm not sure how those two are paired, but anyway, this may have just been a train of thought email, as a lot of them are. They have hexed my daughter and myself.
Hold on. This is insane.
Holy
They've hexed?
That's
what
what
did
it
they do
says.
to deserve that?
I don't know. What do you do to deserve to be hexed? I have no idea.
Cut me off in traffic and
mowed a little too far on their side of the yard. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not making fun. I am a little, but I don't know the answer as to why they were hexed. That's
hexing
something.
someone over a property dispute.
Okay, so I'm assuming that things have started happening then. This is why they're sending me email.
So yeah, it says they have hexed my daughter and myself. The therapist worked with a lady who was part of this cult, and our stories were the same. So the therapist realized what we are going through is real. My daughter and myself both have something attached to us. Every day makes a difference to us. We're looking for help.
So the therapist works with a lady
Who's in the same
this cult
as the neighbors.
Like at the therapist place?
I guess so. Yeah, I'm assuming they come in as a patient for the therapist, and they're in the cult that is the same one as this person's neighbor.
Wow.
The hex part, I don't. That's something new that I don't really know even exactly what that means. And I'm not mocking it. I just am being honest. I don't know what that means.
We've never.
I think they're basically what they're saying is I think hexed is kind of their word they're using. I think they're saying that they believe that the cult association with the neighbors next door and whatever dispute that led up to that has led up to them being for the first time ever experiencing paranormal activity by way of attachment.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're doing that association with their neighbor. I don't think they're
the
necessarily
way I've always understood hexing in my head from all the movies and TV shows, right, is that it basically puts like a target on you.
right.
That's what Pumpkinhead was.
Yeah, it is. That's right. That is what that was.
It says it's a magical spell or charm that's meant to cause harm on a person.
So like witches and Wiccans.
And you
stuff.
see a lot of this stuff like in New Orleans with the voodoo dolls and whatnot.
Yeah.
And down there, the evil eye is a big thing. You know, someone give you the evil eye, you're screwed for life. And your whole lineage is apparently screwed. I don't think that's necessarily what. I could be wrong, but I don't think they're saying this cult gathered on their front yard in a circle and hex. I think they're just saying we've had something happen with these people who are in this cult, and now we have an attachment, so it must have been them.
Right.
And maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not mocking that part. I'm just trying to do the association thing, and I think that's what they're saying. Anyway, I thought that was a different kind of.
Never got anything like that before.
So did they want us to come up and remove the hex? Is that what they're asking us to do?
Oh, and then he actually responded. I forgot. I responded to him, and he responded back. I responded. I said, "Hi." I'm not going to say his name. I said, "What kind of help exactly are you looking for?" And he said, "At this point, anything. My daughter is being attacked. I've taken her everywhere. Hospital, therapist, priest. She has a demonic obsession attack. We are in the Bible all day. Our neighbors are Mormon. Found out they're actually in a cult. Her son came over. Okay, here's that missing link that we were looking for. I forgot that he said this. Her son came over. They made bread. The son and his daughter. He was acting odd. I didn't think much of it at the time. My daughter has twisting thoughts. It fights with her in her sleep. Any direction I can have would be greatly appreciated. We moved out here to build our house. My wife now has a burning sensation in her neck. This started back in April. My daughter said she has the same sensation." Do you need me to reread part of that? I saw you.
No.
So anyway, the cult neighbor's son came over, and him and this guy's daughter made bread.
Is that a euphemism?
No, no, I don't. I think they actually made bread, and he said the boy was acting odd, and ever since then is when he says this all happened.
So he didn't really hex them. He just kind of brought the demon over to him. That's the theory that he's going with.
So.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what it is that he thinks happened.
I don't know if he's saying that this boy came over and the demon, jumped out and found someone new to hang out with, or if he's saying the boy came over with the intention of passing this on. I have no idea. My question is to you guys at this table and to myself is. I don't know. Our role in all this is to prove or disprove the presence of paranormal activity. This particular case looks like they're looking for some kind of removal.
We don't offer a premium hex removal package.
I don't know. Unfortunately,
there's just nothing. I wouldn't know how to even begin to help.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know either. That's why my question initially
the only
was.
thing that we can do is go in and say that we were able to document this happened.
Well, I know. We can say,
and even then, all we'd say is, there's paranormal activity here. We wouldn't say it's due to a hex that.
Well, no, we couldn't say that, but on the best day, all we could do is leave and say, "Yep, you got a demon in here."
Well, but even going back to the case, this would be the closest to, at least in theory, would be the case in Willard. And when we went to Willard the first 2 times we went to Willard, we declared that there was nothing wrong in the house at all. Nothing.
Right.
And then, boom, on the 3rd trip, that's when all hell broke loose.
Yeah. I just don't know that our kind of help is the kind that's
And there's a lot of things that this could be. A lot of times, like when people are claimed to be like demonic possessed, a lot of times it does end up to be like some kind of like psychological.
Yeah, it can be.
And there could be something in the environment over there, too. I mean, there could be something that, some pesticides.
Well, yeah,
like
it could
that.
be. I mean, they did move into a new house. It could be more. Not a new house. They moved into a place. It is new to them.
I will say though, like small towns being taken over slowly by cults is a fascinating.
That's
subject.
Something that we were going to talk about. I forgot about that.
Are you talking about the?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and bridge right into this thing, because this is bizarre and this is local to us. I don't know how much information you want to give.
That's the thing, right? Is I know that there are people listening from this place,
so maybe we should be a little vague.
But I mean, everybody's going to know who I am anyway. Like, if I talk, are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah, but those people that know who you are personally already know about all that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, I'm talking about someone listening in, Iowa. I don't think we want to. I don't think the Chamber of Commerce would be real happy with us,
right?
Putting a target on a specific town,
right?
But anyway, what we're talking about here is there's a small town here in Southwest Missouri. So I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how it started. All I know was for my childhood, being in the proximity of this town, this building was a grocery store. Okay, and it was the grocery store, and then it closed, and then it sat there vacant for many years, and then in the past couple years there's been a beehive of activity there.
Yeah,
there's suddenly cars all around, even people wearing security uniforms.
Yes, and they restrict who goes in. If there's a plumber that's coming to do work in this place, they are escorted to where they need to do their work and can't go anywhere else.
And we're talking firsthand. We know about this.
Yes.
I pulled through the parking lot last time I was down there, and the cars that were in the parking lot there, none of them had Missouri plates on them.
No. Okay, so a lot of people are moving to this small town from other places in the country that hear about this specific organization.
This is a religious organization?
This is a religiously...
It's a
There is no church attached to it.
You hear something?
I think it might have been a bird.
Is it a bird? I hear birds. I can't tell.
But maybe not. Maybe we're not hearing the same thing. But it is a magnet for people coming in that kind of get wrapped up in this whole belief system they have. Their particular belief system is very doomsday.
Yeah, it is. I was trying to pull it up here, and I know it's going to be annoying.
You know who this reminds me a lot of what you're describing is this is the same thing that happened with, what was that guy's name, Jim Jones?
Yeah. A lot of that has... Here's the real creepy thing that kind of makes me raise an eyebrow or two, is that they'll have summer camps for children. Outside of this town, they have built a compound of sorts, a farm.
Can we say the name of the cult?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't know that name.
As we sit here now, I can't even remember it. I'm trying to.
I don't know what kind of suited lawyers would come bearing down on us if we start saying.
That's true, because they are very...
they are powerful.
Yeah.
They are wealthy.
And it's weird to say this in this town of 1,200 or whatever, that there is a cult there that has enough power and
I'm surprised the churches in the town didn't
here's the thing,
unify against this.
We were kind of made aware of this at more of like a ground level position. This is going to be a bigger deal in 10 years.
Yeah.
This is going to blow up. You ever seen that Netflix documentary? It's about the Indian guru who moved into the small town out west somewhere. Did you hear that just now?
I did. It sounded like a little kid.
It sounded like a little kid.
Are you talking about the TikTok?
No.
Okay, there's a TikTok cult too.
No. This guy moved in and he brought in all of his followers with him. And the thought was, okay, we're going to just like slowly take over this town, the government of this town, based on us having more people than them.
Right.
And you can take over a city council if you plan it right and you move in enough people.
You can do that.
And then that will be your city.
This has been occurring for thousands of years.
Yes.
Yeah. The cult tries to outgrow the community.
And then once you outgrow the community, you can then try to outgrow the county.
Yeah.
And then after you get the county, you could even try to overtake the state and get it under your control. This happened in the 70s or 80s.
Could one of you text me the name of the organization real quick so I can because I had pulled up the website at one point.
Off podcast, you guys have told some of the stories about this, and it just blows me away that this would occur in that town.
My mom and dad have neighbors who they moved to this town to work there. You know who I'm talking about? They don't work there anymore. I think they were moving there just to take jobs.
Really?
Not fully aware that these jobs in security or mail or whatever it is they were doing there were going to be associated and under the stranglehold of this religious thing. So they've left. They don't work there anymore. They still live down there, but they don't work there anymore. And the only reason that we would bring this up on a paranormal podcast is because of some of their beliefs are so. And we're sitting here now, and I can't remember the name of the cult, so I can't look it up. And I keep calling it a cult. I should probably call it a religious organization. organization. Because I don't know that some of their ideas aren't really any weirder than some of the others. Did you send me something?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I don't remember it. I'm having to ask.
Okay. But you or Tyler one day sent me a link to their, I don't know what it was. Was it their website or their Facebook page or something?
And they post videos.
They have a website?
They've got
that's where they get their following.
So here's the deal. What they do there is they film in this old grocery store a very professional looking newscast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got news anchors sitting at a desk, the big flashy graphics in the background and all that stuff.
By all accounts, if you were just looking at this, it looks like an independent news site.
Yeah.
Like it looks like an actual news organization.
It does. But then they start talk, and they'll lead off the newscast, and there's all these videos are posted on the website. I hate doing this and not giving the listeners that website to look at, but it's tricky.
We have to be careful there.
Yeah, it's very tricky because they're very legally active at the moment.
Yeah, they're litigious.
They're litigious.
They
is the word.
would come after us.
So we've got to be very careful. We're not even going to say the name of the town or anything, because the last thing I want are these freaks breathing down our neck. But anyway, they'll do these newscasts, which they all have posted on the website in embedded videos. And it starts out with a real news story, something that's actually happening in the news. But then they go from that point and it goes downhill quick.
Yeah, it goes goes down the rabbit hole.
I mean, they're essentially...
That's not that uncommon. A lot of organizations do that sort of thing anymore. These guys just may be taking it to a extreme.
They've taken it to an extreme because they're essentially telling people, this is it. You're experiencing the end.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
And here's what we got to do to prepare for that end. And I know religious people have said that for many, many years, but this is different. There's like a call to action here. And that call to action is join us. We know what you need to do to survive.
This is all sounding very familiar. If anybody's ever watched these documentaries, there's dozens of them about all these little cults that have popped up. A lot of them are end times focused, right? Calls to action where you will get people together.
I mean, this doesn't sound that far off from the sort of stuff, and I don't know a ton about it, but I was watching a little documentary on, I think it was the Gowanus incident, the Jones deal that happened, and then the...
Talk about Jonestown?
Yes, yeah, Jonestown, and then the senator went over to investigate it, and they sent notes to the senator saying, help us get us out of here, and as the senator is trying to leave, gunfire erupts. This was during the 1970s.
There was a documentary about that.
Yeah, I mean, and then I believe the senator was killed, and his assistant then would later become a senator, and then the troops went into. It was just a mess. It was a mess.
See, here's the thing. If you've ever seen the documentary Wild Wild Country, okay, it's about an Indian guru who moves into a small town in the Oregon desert, and he just makes a town. Okay, builds a town. A literal town. All of his followers come and join him. And then other people start coming and joining him. And eventually, the neighboring small town gets just completely overrun. Those city council people are outnumbered 20-1 at this point. It turns into, and I'm going to read from the actual documentary introduction here. Chronicles the conflict, leads to the first bioterror attack in the United States and a massive case of illegal wiretapping. They would tap the phones and the wiretap listening devices of other people in the city council. When voting day came, they poisoned the town to keep them at home so they couldn't go and vote so that they would win.
You mean literally poison? I mean actual poison?
Salmonella in a salad bar.
Yep.
In this restaurant. And the whole town was just wiped out because this was a very popular spot and it's a small town. I don't know if it was salmonella. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it was that. They poisoned it with something. And people got sick, very sick. So it was the first bioterror attack on in an actual United States city.
All politics is local. All of it is. And if you're ever wanting to take over anything, you do exactly like what these guys are talking about on this.
You got to start small.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the scary thing about it. It's driving me nuts that I can't remember the name of it. I wanted to pull up a couple of their beliefs. They have a whole list of beliefs on the website.
Well, I'm trying to get it for you.
I mean, they tiptoe. I mean, it's not your typical religious beliefs of, don't murder, it's not that stuff. It's more along the lines of tiptoeing into the flat earth kind of nonsense. It's not flat earth, but it's like that kind of bizarre.
So this is dramatically different from traditional religions that we have here in the United States.
Their belief systems are completely different. And the scary thing about it to me is that local people in that community have started, I couldn't give percentages here, but that even some have is alarming. Some local people in that community have started joining up with this.
See, I cannot believe that the churches in that town have not.
We're talking about
really,
a small southwest Missouri town, though.
Well-
getting that kind of thing organized for one thing is hard, but another thing is there's like 40 churches per square mile.
Well, that's true. And the deal with the churches in towns like that is most of the people, like the head of the church is also, the postmaster. That's not a full-time, the church usually isn't their
but I'm
full-time.
surprised that the churches haven't tried to do something about that.
I think this is still fairly new.
And like he said, a lot of those people in those churches are joining them.
And I think also in at least probably a couple of cases, they may be in the situation we find ourselves in today where they're stepping easy.
Yeah.
Well, that's true because you can't really... Can you prove?
Because this is a combination religion, community, business.
Yeah,
that has lawyers and shit.
See, this is the thing when it gets real dangerous is when this starts to take roots. Mm-hmm. And starts to kind of cement itself as a fixture in the community.
Well, where it starts getting scary is whenever people like us can't even say the name of the damn thing.
Well, and if they've got that much money going on, particularly in small towns, money counts anywhere. Money counts in New York City, in Los Angeles. Money is going to talk there. But if you're in little bitty towns that have nothing else going on, it really can count.
From our source, what I've heard is they get plenty of money.
Yep.
They're coming in envelopes by the thousand, which is illegal.
And
they
have
money in the.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying though. Did you hear that?
Yes, it did.
So even what I just implied there, if we had said their name.
I know, we can't say the name. We just can't. And I know it's frustrating being on the listening end of it being like, well, hell, screw it. Why are you even talking about it if I can't look it up myself?
It's one of those things you're going to have to just believe us or don't.
The blurry line for this thing is, it is a religious belief system, but it's also a business.
Mm-hmm. There are things they do outside of this.
I don't know that they can't take money. I think they probably can legally.
There are other, like you said, businesses that are kind of affiliated.
They kind of use religion as the under. It's like the under.
Well, that's how they pull you in.
I mean, you don't click on these videos and see a preacher. No, you click on these videos and see people behind a news desk.
Yes.
Well, from a financial standpoint, if you are a religious organization and you can meet whatever the legal qualifications are for that, you can do all that as a nonprofit.
Yeah, and you also don't get taxed,
right?
Yep.
So then you have a lot more money to build your mansions and your.
And there was a reason why I brought it up because I was going through my file folder in my head. I looked at this website and I was remembering all the bizarre shit that they were talking about on the videos and on the links. And as I sit here right now, I can't remember a damn one. And that's not me being chicken shit because I'm afraid that I literally can't remember one because this was like in March.
There's a new one. Like you said, it's always these doomsday cults, right?
But they even have a page on their website. It's Our Beliefs.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember them.
So I can't remember specific ones either. And that's ridiculous because
I was just trying to justify why we're talking about this on a paranormal podcast. And part of it is because freaky religions to me are scary as shit.
That's the scariest thing.
They're scarier than a ghost. And I'm not talking about Catholics and whatever. I'm talking about these niche community type things.
Like that email you got about the guy that is being hexed by the cult. That is peak nightmare for me.
And I think part of it may be where we grew up because the stories growing up were always about. We didn't get Bigfoot stories.
No,
we didn't get Ozark Howler or whatever the hell.
I'd never heard of that till we started this podcast.
I had neither Momo. I never heard of any of that shit. The things that were scary growing up were robes.
Yes,
and I'm not talking KKK.
Yeah, but that was real there. I mean, you saw that.
It was like real things people said to scare the shit out of each other. You guys had an experience with something like that in the middle of nowhere.
I did,
and I've been driving back out in the middle of nowhere in a dirt road coming back from a river or a creek, and I've thought to myself many times,
I think every time
if I see a hooded figure come in front of me in the road and block the way.
A little while back, Andrew, my son, wanted to go because it was it a meteor shower? Was it something? I don't know. He takes pictures of the stars all the time.
It was when we saw the Northern Lights.
It was even before that. It was something happening up there, and he wanted to go to the Missouri State University Observatory, which is out in the middle of nowhere in Fair Grove, Missouri. Yeah. So we drove out there, and I'm telling you, the roads, if you'd have met someone's backing up because there's room for one car on these roads. And my thought process the whole time, even to this day, was what if someone like steps out in front of this car, wearing those robes? That's where my mind always goes.
I'll tell you what would happen if someone steps in front of my truck wearing robes.
You got a decision to make. That's kind of around here, that's the stories that we were told growing up.
Yeah.
The number one thing I would recommend that anybody does is, if you're wanting to be a part of a religion, be a part of whatever, that's great. But do some homework, do some investigation. Are you getting isolated? Are you able to check the points they're talking about? Are you getting these things from multiple sources? Don't take everything from one source ever.
These cults are very smart in how they do this. I was watching the one about the TikTok cult out in it's out in near Los Angeles. They've overtaken a community south of Los Angeles in this same way. Yeah. They're very smart. Yeah. Because they have they bring in young adults like 18 to 23, and they have 18 to 23-year-olds bringing them in. Hey, I'm just like you, and and then they start. Well, we need to go to this one class every day, and then it turns into we need to do 6 hours a day in order to rise up in the pyramid.
Yeah, and we need all your money.
Yeah. Oh, that was the deal with these TikTok. They're monetized. But all the money goes to the house.
Yeah,
they all live in one giant mansion.
And then
now.
It gets funneled down.
But anyway, that's kind of how these things work. They're very smart. They don't start out hitting you with crazy.
No.
They taper you in. And that's what I'm worried about. And that's part of the reason why we're being very careful here, is because we know people, lots of them, who live in this community. And we don't want any kind of retribution to happen. We're talking about a small community. And we don't want any kind of, retribution from this place happening to them, because we were sitting here talking about this place by name.
Or lawyers.
Or any of that shit. So we're going to keep the name and the community completely out of it. We hadn't really planned talking about this today. We did talking about it at some point. If we had planned it, I would have had a little better preparation as far as why we're bringing it up on a paranormal podcast. Trust me, there's a reason. Their beliefs are insane, and it's not just. I can't even think of one now, but I know it's like doomsday.
I'm glad it's all doomsday.
It's doomsday prepping.
There was something before the eclipse. Something was supposed to happen before the eclipse, and then it didn't. And then it was going to be the eclipse. Well, of course, the eclipse came and went, and nothing happened, so now it's something else.
It's always
something else.
You always kick that can down the road.
It's never ending.
But you also have to tie it to a specific thing to create the urgency.
But you would think, as a follower, whenever your leaders say, okay, on this day, there's going to be this eclipse, this is going to happen, you'd think eventually after time, when the thing doesn't ever happen, you would eventually say, I think this might be bullshit. But they don't.
No.
They buy into it. They say, no, here's why that didn't happen on this day.
You ever heard of the sunk cost fallacy in sports?
No.
Okay, so it's like this whole idea is you spend so much money on this player, say he's a baseball player, and you spend a lot of money, and your organization's put a lot of time into this player, and he makes it to the big leagues. They finally give him a shot, and he sucks, and he's not getting better. And he keeps sucking for a half a season, a full season, 2 seasons. Why don't you just cut him? Because you've spent so much money on him. You've sunk all this money and cost into him. You want a return on your investment.
And that's kind of where these people are.
I think that's where it is.
It's that law of diminished returns.
Yeah, like I've put everything into this. Yeah, I can't back out now.
Yeah, and part of it is a lot of times in other like cult type things, people have actually said once they got out. I'm talking about Scientology at this point. This was a Scientology one I watched. When people got out, they were like, I was afraid, when I got out, if I got out, everybody who was trying to get me out would be like, see what an idiot you were, and I didn't want that.
Right. Yeah.
So they stay in. This is something that's happening locally. I'm talking minutes away from where we are right now, and it's scary as hell. Because every time I drive by that grocery store, I see cars in the parking lot now. Where for 2 decades it sat, with weeds growing through the parking lot. Mm-hmm. And I always hoped at some point another grocery store would go back in there. Not this nonsense.
This is more profitable.
Yeah, this is more profitable, but it's being grassrooted by people who are not in the community. I don't know exactly where they came from. I looked it up at one point, and I may have even found it. I can't remember. Like I said, this was like back in March. But they're not, it's not like a group of these community came together, broke off from a church and said, let's form our own. These are outsiders who came in and thought, we can recruit people here.
Well, it's easier to start this in small towns. They don't have as many statutes and as many laws and hoops to jump through.
Right.
I still would encourage anybody, I don't have a problem if you want to do any religion or anything like that, that's fine, but always get multiple sources, get multiple inputs. Don't get everything from one source. Look around, do your investigation. The beliefs that they're talking about, are they tied to anything? Don't take everything, and this is true for any religion. Don't take everything from one source.
The thing that I've always had an issue with, and I'm a big freedom of religion guy, right? Whatever you want to believe in, I don't care. But the thing that really kind of makes it cross the line, in my opinion, into like creepy is when you start like thinking about the children and the kids who you're poisoning with this stuff and how it will stick with them for the rest of their life.
Well, yeah. Going back to Scientology, that's kind of what they do.
I mean, have you watched the stuff about like the Latter-day Saints stuff, like the polygamous cults?
Christian I have seen some polygamous cults things that are happening in Salt Lake City.
I mean, a lot of this happened way back.
I heard something there too, yeah.
Years and years ago. But that's the thing, like you could watch videos now on YouTube of these children that are grown up and they've never really like recovered from that.
Yeah. They'll be like 27 years old and they live 24 of their years of their life in this compound.
Yeah.
But that's true of any kids when you're growing up. Whatever beliefs or whatever things your parents push on you could potentially stay with you forever. I mean, for any belief.
That's true.
But then these type cults go so far as to say, if your brother gets out of our church, he's dead to us.
Yeah, like cut off.
You can't contact him anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's done.
Now, we're not saying this small town one does this.
No. We're just saying, speaking in generalities here. But anyway, I'll tell you what we ought to do is we probably ought to, since we're a little limited on time, is let's go ahead and I'm going to look into this, and in 2 weeks, we'll come back and we'll talk about it. We're still not going to say the town, and we're not going to say the name of this organization, but I do want to at least look up their beliefs and at least mention them here in a couple of weeks on the podcast. And then next week, we want to play some EVPs that we caught when we were podcasting here last week.
Yeah, well, it's over the past several weeks.
Okay, we got a bunch of them. So we'll do kind of an EVP roundup coming up here next week.
More Dark Matter next week from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri with Midwest Ghost Hunters.